Hey everyone, welcome back to another dividend investing video. With 2023 coming to a close, it's time to formulate my own dividend investing plan for the coming year of 2024. This is a good time to check in on how far you've come in the last year and to set your financial goals for the next year. I want to know that in another year, I've made real, measurable progress towards my financial goals and dreams. And the best way to do so is to set an ambitious but realistic, achievable investing plan for the year that I can follow and stick to. And as a dividend investor, I'll be focused on continuing the growth of my dividend portfolios. I have a few of them across a couple different accounts. Part of my plan to one day use the dividend income from these accounts to pay at least a portion of my expenses in a life that I am living 100% on my own terms, doing what I love and chasing my dreams. Today, I'm going to show you my overall plan for 2024. Let's do this. I'm Nick, and this is the Dividend Growth Income Channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'm not a financial advisor or guru. I'm just a regular guy who wants to share my love of dividend growth investing and building financial independence with passive income. If you could, please do me a favor, smash the like button and subscribe to keep up with future videos. This helps us out more than you can imagine with the algorithm, so we can bring you more quality dividend investing content. Creating a plan is crucial for many reasons. Having a plan, sticking to it, gives you a much better shot at success. And in your bigger financial picture, you have to have a budget, regardless of how much money you make. Determining how much to invest, you may say, I aim to go with 10% of my income. And if you make $50,000 a year, then you're going to aim to invest $5,000. Splitting that 12 ways, that gives you $600 a month that you aim to put away. And then you work that into your budget. And if you really want to kick ass throughout the year, look for ways to do a little better. And for me, doing better than last year is so important. My number one goal for investing in 2024 isn't buying so much of a stock or an ETF, but it's investing more capital than I did in 2023. And my goal in 2025 will be similar. Every year, hopefully, you're making a little more money than you did the year before. And a nice way to make sure this happens, maybe you contribute to a 401k at your employer, for example. You can bump up that 401k allocation every year by 1%, for example. Now, another thing I've been doing and will continue to do is I have set days on which I purchase my investments. This is a dollar cost average strategy I use, and it helps to remove the chance of making emotionally based decisions, at least on the purchasing side, right? We really want to avoid emotions and investing. They don't really mix, guys. In 2023, I invested in my Roth IRA every Monday on the first day of the market week. And then I invested in my YouTube taxable dividend portfolio with Fidelity every Wednesday. Although I accidentally missed a Wednesday and had to buy that next day on a Thursday because I was on vacation once. But the idea is I made purchases in both of the accounts every single week, regardless of what the markets were doing. And there were times where I went a little heavier when I thought it was advantageous to do so, but I stuck to my plan of investing every single week. And I plan to keep this schedule in 2024 because it's worked well for me so far. So I have two primary accounts I'll be investing in 2024, the same as 2023, my Roth IRA with Schwab, and then the YouTube public portfolio I'm building up here on my channel in Fidelity. Now let's start with my plan for the Roth IRA. The IRS is already helping me out here by doing better than I did in 2023, as they upped the contribution limits from $6,500 to $7,000. So just by simply maxing out this account, I can get that easy win over last 2023. And if you're over 50, your max will be $8,000. Now I maxed out my Roth by contributing $125 every single week in 2023. This was a nice way to dollar cost average across the account throughout the year. Adding the funds in $125 chunks every week makes that manageable. And if you make this a priority, it should be doable for just about anybody. Now that the limit has changed, the plan to max this out for me is a little bit different. $7,000 divided by 52 doesn't come out to a nice, easy number, so I'm instead going to contribute $140 every week of 2024 to the Roth IRA, except for the first and last week. So 50 weeks of $140 will max out the Roth IRA in 2024. And by the way, guys, you have until April 15th to max out for 2023, the prior year. So if you've not maxed out for 2023 yet, don't worry, but consider making this a priority. I think you will thank yourself later. As for what I'm going to purchase in the Roth, well, in 2023, I used the Roth as part of this 52-week SCHD challenge that I think was started by this dude, Disney Beach LV, but I couldn't get an answer from him on social media. I want to give him credit, though. Now, the challenge has him buying $1 of SCHD on the first week of the year, $2 on the second week, $3 on the third week, all the way up to $52 worth on the final week of the year. So that's a nice simple plan anyone can do. But what I did was different. I simply bought 1 share of SCHD every Monday. And this was a nice way to dollar cost average into what I think is the best dividend-focused ETF out there, especially given the tiny expense ratio and the track record for dividend growth. And I'm going to continue this in 2024. And of course, I made a spreadsheet here where I'll track this and I share these updates with you all throughout the year. This is my own 52-week investing challenge. What I have here is a money-based goal sheet and a share-based goal sheet. Now, with my SCHD challenge, I'm going to use the share-based goal because I want to buy 1 share per week. So I set my goal to 52 shares. Let's say I buy a share on January 2nd for $75. Then on January 8th, I'll have a share for $75.50. And then on January 15th, I'll get a share at $76. And you can see how it shows your progress towards the goal, your performance, and what it would pay in annual dividends. And this is just an estimate. Now, if I was going to do the original challenge where the goal was to invest a certain amount of funds, like the $1 the first week, $2 the second week, this would be a money-based goal. And this isn't limited to SCHD or even dividend stocks. Like, let's say I wanted to buy Amazon. You substitute the ticker here, and you set the dividend to 0 because they don't pay a dividend. But let's say I had a goal of building a position in Amazon over the next year, $25 a week. So in that goal, I would put $1,300. Then as time progresses each week, I will add the shares I bought that week and how I spent them. So let's say on week 1, I bought $25 worth, and this got me, say, 0.162 shares on January 2nd, because these are going to be fractional shares. And then on January 8th, say I spent $25 for 0.16 shares of Amazon. Then the next week, on the say another $25, I bought 1.64 shares. And you can see how this tracks that progress. So it could work for that as well. And if you guys would like a free copy of the spreadsheet to track for your own challenges, just let me know down in the comments. If there's enough interest, I'll edit a short video with instructions how to make this work with a link to the spreadsheet. And of course, make sure you're subscribed with notifications so you get that video, because the YouTube algorithm, let's just say they're inconsistent with which videos they get out there to larger audiences. So back to my plan for the Roth here. The SCHD share is going to take about $75 out of the $140 per week I'm adding to the account. And in 2023, I spent every extra dollar in the account beyond SCHD challenge into real estate investment trusts, primarily Realty Income and Vici Properties. This is where I put most of that money. There's over $1,000 in each one this year. These are good companies to put in the Roth due to their tax considerations being more significant than the majority of dividend-paying companies, which pay a qualified dividend. 2023 happened to be a great year to buy REITs. I think some of them still look good. Such as Realty Income, I think that's still a buy today. So while I'll continue to buy REITs here, I would also like to focus on higher growth prospects. I'm going to plan on spending my leftover contributions as well as dividends received into 2 ETFs new to this account. That's SPLG and SCHG. Now, SPLG is simply an S&P 500 index ETF, very similar to VOO or SPY. It's really the same thing essentially, but it has a lower share price. And in my Schwab Roth IRA, I don't get fractional shares, so this is perfect. The S&P 500 index, it's my single largest investment. I'm a huge believer in keeping a significant amount of money that simply tracks market returns. And the S&P 500 has grown at an average rate of about 10% per year historically. So I can easily get a share of SCHD and SPLG every week if I want to. And I'll look to add to SCHG as well. It's another Schwab ETF. I own some of this in an older traditional IRA, and it's done extremely well. It's a high growth ETF with a 10-year total return of 303%, which beats the broader market. But you only buy these kind of high growth ETFs if you have time, because they're far more volatile. I wouldn't buy this, say, if I wasn't comfortable holding it for at least 10 years. But if you have that kind of time, they are effective at growing capital. And at a later point, you could theoretically move those funds into something that does pay some more income, because SCHD doesn't even pay 0.5%. Now, both of those 2 funds are right now near all-time highs, so it's likely that I'll continue to also be adding into my Realty Income and Vici Property positions opportunistically. So that's the plan for the Roth. That'll have me investing $7,000 plus whatever it makes in the dividends I'll reinvest. And then from a taxable portfolio, we call this the Dividend Growth Income Portfolio. I make videos each month updating the progress on this. I started it here on the channel for you guys to follow. And in a few days, I'll make a video summarizing what we bought in December, the dividends we collected, and that's going to come out this weekend after the markets have closed. As my number one goal is to do better in 2024 than I did in 2023, I'm going to need to contribute over $14,400 because that's how much I added in 2023. I started off the year investing $250 per week, and over the summer you can see I added a few extra amounts here and there when I could. And then in the last third of the year, I started contributing $300 a week. I upped my contribution goal from $10,000, which I'd already beat, to $15,000. I didn't quite make that goal. I'm 4% short, but 44% better than the original plan when I was looking at this time last year. So I'm quite happy with this. Now, to beat this goal, I could simply continue adding $300 a week. That would ensure I get $15.6K invested in the account over the year. $350 a week would get me to $18.2K invested throughout the year. And $400 per week would get me to $20.8K invested. So see what just making little incremental changes can add up to a lot of money. Now, I've settled on a goal of 2024 in this account to contribute $18,000. This is both achievable and a considerable step up from 2023. It's realistic as long as nothing crazy happens in my life like shit often does, but if things change, then I have to adjust my plan. But assuming a normal year, I think $18,000 is a good goal. I plan to begin upping my contribution to $350 a week starting in January. And that would get me there. As far as what I'll be buying, it's going to look very much the same as it did in 2023, I think. Right now, I hold 3 ETFs and 24 individual stocks. And I think by the end of 2024, it's more likely I have a few less individual stocks than more, as I might look to do a little bit of consolidating. And I might also add a position or two opportunistically, like the way I added McDonald's into the mix in October, which was down pretty hard. I'll continue to keep 3 ETFs as the largest holdings in the fund, but we'll be scaling that back a little bit as I'm buying a ton of SCHD and other ETFs in my Roth. So I don't think I need to necessarily go as heavy in ETFs in this account in 2024 as I did in 2023. I'm going to likely focus more on the individual positions. Now, I do have forward income goals, but I don't put a ton of weight on these. Chasing yield is a bad strategy in this phase of the game. But I do see the account getting to an average of $100 a month in dividend income by the end of 2024. And if I hit my contribution goals, it should be inevitable. I came extremely close to hitting this $50 a month goal, and I'm sure I could have brought that higher yield stuff, here these last few weeks to hit that goal, but that's just not important to me at all because total growth is the goal. The stock I regret not buying most in 2023, guys, is actually Costco, which pays a very small dividend, but I've learned in my time not to chase. Fellas, that extends beyond stocks, if you know what I mean. Now, I invest a little bit in other places that I don't necessarily really share here. I have a small custodial account for my daughter, and I made a video about that back in the summer, but there really wasn't much interest in that. But guys, saving for your kids is a great idea if you can. They have a ton of time on their side. And I'll leave a link to that video in the description. Now, I want to know, what are your 2024 investing goals, guys? Make a plan and stick to it, and you're going to be set up for success. You'll have a much better chance, at least. Thanks for sticking around. More to come as we wrap up the year and head into 2024. We're in this journey called dividend investing together. So until next time, my friends, keep investing.